Terence, when did you know that you were going to beat him over here on your left?
When he signed the contract.
The hell was old Canelo Alvarez? Take the rematch, all right? Why would he start negotiating? And there's a few things going on here. Number one, there was a rematch clause.
Listen, however they rate me, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we got to fight, and I'm going to win the fight. As simple as that.
I try it, but my body just no let me go.
He appears like a man clinging to a fading legacy, struggling to hold on. After the shocking scene we watched unfold in September 2025, many believe the chapter had closed. We assumed the torch had shifted and Canelo would vanish quietly. But we misjudged.
TV Azteca, Mexican boxing channel, is reporting that 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed super middleweight, first ballot Hall of Famer, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 3 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout, has indeed now, after suffering another loss, after having surgery on his elbow, he is now of the mindset that he can overcome the mountain that it was in September in the form of 5-division world champion, 3-division undisputed world champion, pound for pound king, #1 fighter in the world, first ballot Hall of Famer, superstar boxer, Terence "Bud" Crawford.
Yet is he chasing closure, or is he walking straight into another soul-crushing defeat? Now we move into the turmoil. The quiet from the Alvarez side after the September downfall felt overwhelming, though it eventually shattered on national television. Canelo stepped in with an unexpected moment on air as Tech's missing protagonistas, and the energy he carried looked nothing like the steady, composed figure we're accustomed to watching. Sources within the broadcast revealed that Canelo claimed his main mission remains a rematch against Terence Crawford. He wasn't subtle about it. He clearly insisted discussions are already moving for 2026 and that he craves this battle at any cost.
I'm not bull jiving. Listen, Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Terence "Bud" Crawford in negotiations to happen 2026, the rematch. And let me tell you something.
This moment at its core feels revealing. Normally, Canelo pushes from his usual stance of power, setting catch limits or strict hydration rules. But now, sources claim he seems ready to bow simply to face Crawford inside the ring again. The footage, now spreading wildly across X, once Twitter, reveals a figure who appears driven and relentless.
You describe what it all means to you to have, you just made like a whole resume of stuff tonight.
It means a lot to me because, anybody can be a nobody, like I said, and that's all they say I've been fighting is nobodies. So what can they say now? Somebody tell me, what can you say now?
You can say congratulations.
That's it. What can you say? Any words?
Thanks.
I bet you did.
He isn't chasing any warm-up bout, nor a simple paycheck from some routine opponent. He remains fixated on the single fighter who once reduced him to average.
I believe they have a rematch clause. I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I'm sure there's some kind of wording because Canelo doesn't enter a fight without some kind of wording in terms of rematch clause. But he's just not going to beat Terence Crawford. It's the style's all wrong for him, the movement's all wrong for him. And that's what I said. Going into the fight, I really believed Crawford would win in the style that he did.
But why this fixation? To grasp it, we need to return to the night the legend collapsed, September 13th, 2025. It was meant to be another Mexican Independence Day moment for Canelo Alvarez. The story before the fight felt clear. Terence Crawford seemed too small. Observers claimed Bud was taking on more than he could manage by climbing 3 weight divisions to confront the super middleweight ruler.
Excuse my language. The size difference of a bigger man changes everything with one punch. And I can see the same thing. Canelo Alvarez will take any punch from Crawford but I don't think Crawford will take any punches from Canelo. Remember, Canelo got hit by Triple G, the heaviest hitter in that division. And Canelo took those shots like a champ. I don't think Crawford has anything to beat Canelo.
As far as they say, who's pound for pound, right? This fight will say that, but who has Crawford really beat? Postal? Gamboa? Gamboa wasn't the same after he fought him, but I feel Burns. Look at Canelo's resume. Cotto, Triple G, the list goes on and on. Austin Trout. A lot of world champions, bro. So I feel that's how you measure how great a fighter is through that. So we'll see. But I just feel his resume is he's gonna come in this fight, be able to figure out Crawford. So we'll see.
But once the bell echoed, size meant nothing. Skill ruled. Crawford didn't simply win. He broke down a legend. The judges marked it 11 rounds to 1 for the fighter out of Omaha. It wasn't some sudden knockout or fortunate strike. It became a drawn-out 12-round masterclass in pure boxing craft.
I want to ask you a little bit about the history that you made tonight, and I want your opinion on which means the most to you. You became a 5-division world champion. You became the 3rd of 4-division lineal champion with Mayweather and Pacquiao. You became a 3-time undisputed champion, the first ever in the 2, 3, or 4 belt era. And you became the 2nd undisputed champion in 3 weight classes when there was only 1 champion back in 1938 with Henry Armstrong. That's a lot of stuff.
You hear that? You hear that?
Which do you think means
all
the most?
All of it. It all goes hand in hand.
You know what? Sometimes you try and your body cannot go, right? That's my frustration. Maybe I can figure out Crawford, but my body cannot go anymore. So
Crawford controlled the heart of the ring, forcing Canelo to swing at shadows, punishing every mistake, and slowly dragging the larger man into surrender. The irony cuts deep here. For years, Canelo brushed off Crawford, claiming he hadn't faced real threats and was simply too small. Yet under the brightest lights, the smaller fighter became the one who overpowered the supposed intimidator.
Don't get me wrong, okay? He's a good fighter, a great fighter. I always say before I see him calling me out and won the fight and everything, I say before, he's a great fighter. But if you look at his career, mention one elite fighter. Just mention me one elite fighter.
Your reaction to Terence, what he did, that's another crazy thing, right?
No, that's not crazy. No, I say it's not crazy because I predicted. I said Canelo was going to get old in the ring that night. No disrespect to Crawford. He did a good. Crawford could have stopped him. He could have. You know, me being a coach and watching how the fight was going on, he could have stopped him. And I know he's saying it in his mind, but he was being humble of Canelo. He was being humble, and it was a great fight, and it was good talk for the boxing world. And that's what it's all about, to entertain, to get us something to look at. We've been entertained like this for years, for centuries, of gladiators and stuff, going in the ring, representing their family.
Here's where everything starts to unravel. Before their first clash in June 2025, Terence Crawford already sensed what was coming. In an interview that has now exploded online, Crawford stared straight into the lens and delivered a direct message to Canelo. I want him at his best. I don't want no excuses. Crawford made it clear he refused to hear any talk about weight cuts or lingering injuries once his hand was raised.
About if there's any rematch clause with this fight with Canelo.
No, it's not.
Is that something you push for?
No, I didn't.
And there's any weight restrictions to the fight at all?
No, it's not.
A lot of fighters would like to put on a weight restriction to this type of fight. Why didn't you want to do that?
Because I want him at his best. I don't want no excuses. I don't want no, reasons why, he didn't feel good or anything. I want him at his best.
Terence, when did you know that you were going to beat him over here on your left?
When he signed the contract.
he seemed to focus mostly on body punches, and you were hitting him in the head a lot. Was it your reach that gave you the advantage?
It was everything. You know, he wasn't hitting the body or anything. He was hitting my elbow because I was blocking it. But, you know, I think I was the better man tonight.
He wanted the triumph to feel undeniable. Yet now the excuses are beginning to spill out. Whispers are spreading from Canelo's circle that he stepped into the September fight with a damaged elbow, an injury that needed surgery right after the match. This is the very storyline Crawford cautioned against.
Now, Saul Canelo Alvarez also, you know, last time you saw him, he's, you know, nursing and recovering from an elbow surgery, which he had an elbow injury going into the fight. So, you know, you start thinking about stuff like that. I'm talking about if you Canelo, why would you say, you know what, let's go ahead with the rematch. I think I got a shot. All right, being a competitor for one. All right, and number two, the fight was closer technically than you thought because you were in there, and in there you felt like you were getting your ass whipped. And number three, you went in there nursing an elbow injury. So it's like, yo, I think I may have a chance if I'm 100% healthy. All right. He feels the same way about Bivol because he had a wrist injury going into the Bivol fight. So it's just, you think about all those things and like, yeah, let me give myself a shot.
By suggesting he wasn't at full strength, Canelo is attempting to persuade both himself and the world that a healthy version of him would rewrite history. But the audience isn't convinced. The general feeling online is that this comes off as weak. It seems he walks straight into Crawford's mental game. By pointing to an injury, Canelo diminishes Crawford's achievement, unintentionally stoking the flames for the rematch.
The hell was old Canelo Alvarez take the rematch? All right, why would he start negotiating? And there's a few things going on here. Number one, there was a rematch clause. And I do know right after the fight, so Canelo Alvarez was like, there was nothing I could do with him. But I think what happens is you start to sit back. Let me look at the fights. Let me think about this. The fight was closer than I thought. You know, that's what Canelo's thinking, right? Because technically it was. All right, when you think about the copy box and shit, put a pin in that. We all know Terence Crawford whooped that man's ass 11 rounds to 1 in reality, all right? But if you count, you know, punches, you know, landed or copy by, statistically, technically, it was a closer fight, okay?
We've watched Canelo face defeat before. He fell to Floyd Mayweather in 2013 and to Dimitri Bivol in 2022. Yet this feels unlike those moments. Against Mayweather, he was green, still learning. Against Bivol, he battled a naturally bigger light heavyweight. This time, there's no out. He stood in his prime division against a man who began his journey at lightweight.
The Mexican ancestors of the past who normally resurrect from their graves and their spirits is in the building to give that great Mexican warrior the energy and the power that he needs to overcome the battle. Well, that didn't work this time. The slim, skinny, dark-skinned dude from Omaha, Nebraska beat you in front of all of those people. So Canelo got to get it back in blood. I respect that, Nello. Go back and do your thing, run it back, and see what you can do differently. You dig? Y'all let me know, what do you think about this Canelo rumored to want to rematch Terence Crawford in his next fight? Peace.
Just as it got a bit closer at the weigh-in, I was like, my heart was like, nah, Canelo's got this, you know, and but deep down, I kind of knew that it was all wrong for him. And to be honest with you, Canelo knew it was all wrong for him. You know, I had the conversation with Canelo Alvarez probably, I don't know, a year ago, about Terence Crawford. And he was like, nah, why would I fight Terence Crawford? Like, you know, he hates that style. And when he fought Charlo, I remember him being really disappointed that Charlo just moved and moved and moved. And that's why he ended up fighting Munguia and Berlanga, because they're guys that wouldn't do that and they'd stand in front of him, and that suits him down to the ground. Anyone that's got movement, like Skull, like Crawford, like, you know, he really struggles against. And when he was a bit younger and fresher, he could probably get away with it and cut it off, and, you know, but then you see guys like Bivol and, you know, Crawford and these guys beat him because of that movement. And I don't know what he does again. I mean, you know, the biggest money fight out there for him is the rematch with Crawford.
Those close to his team say Canelo's ego just can't swallow the defeat. It's consuming him from the inside. He feels compelled to reclaim it, to do so in blood. A feeling many fight analysts have echoed. He can't step away, knowing a lean fighter from Omaha stripped him of his crown. It calls to mind the great icons who never learned when to stop. This push for a rematch seems fueled purely by pride, not reason.
Hey, yo, peace to the family. Look, I don't saw the report. Terence Crawford, Canelo Alvarez. Canelo is saying, from what they're saying out there on the internet, that he wants to rematch Terence Crawford. I think that's a wonderful thing. It makes sense from a financial standpoint. If you Canelo, your ego is involved as well, because you said all of these things. You said the guy's too small. You said he ain't fought nobody. You said he's, you know, your resume is better than his. You said that there's levels to this. And that small, skinny guy from Omaha, Nebraska beat you on Mexican Independence Day in front of all of the ancestors.
The business side of this rematch is shaping up to be a nightmare for Canelo's camp. For the past decade, Canelo called the shots. Ring walks, glove brands, venues, even the purse split. That control has vanished. Terence Crawford now holds all the cards. Financial analysts are already predicting Crawford will insist on a 50-50 split, maybe even more, to step back into the ring. And why not? He dominated the first encounter. He's the one granting Canelo a chance at redemption. Remember, Floyd Mayweather never offered a rematch. Dimitri Bivol never extended one. Crawford is the only one with the relentless mentality to run it back. But he's going to make Canelo pay dearly for that privilege.
In negotiating for this rematch, he would be the first one out of the fighters who've beaten Saul Canelo Alvarez to give him a rematch. Floyd Money Mayweather didn't give Canelo Alvarez a rematch. Dimitri Bivol didn't give Canelo Alvarez a rematch. But here Terence Bud Crawford doing what he does. And let me give you a side note. Let me just put a pin in that. Put a pin in that real quick. Do you know what Terence Bud Crawford was trying to do? The type of bags he was trying to collect this year? Terence Bud Crawford accepted the Jake Paul fight. Yeah, the replacement fight for Gervonta Tank Davis. Terence Bud Crawford accepted that damn fight. Now, MVP, Jake Paul, they didn't go with Terence Bud Crawford. They went with AJ, which I'm still scratching my head on that. All right, because that is going to be a brutal knockout. But with that said, Terence Bud Crawford said yes to this, knowing damn well he's going to negotiate with Canelo. You want to talk about the bags?
The roles have reversed entirely. Canelo is now the pursuer, chasing the fight, while Crawford sits back, counting every dollar.
To be honest, when I set my sights on doing something and I know what I'm capable of, it's not like a surprise to me. It's a surprise to y'all because y'all didn't believe me, you know? But for me, I knew I could do it, and I believed that I could do it. I just needed the opportunity.
Oh, no, well, you got two champions and two different styles. And obviously, Crawford was a little quicker. But Canelo didn't have any quit, and he kept coming forward. He kept fighting. So it was a great fight. I would actually like to see it again. Thank you.
So, if this showdown lands in May 2026, how does Canelo actually come out on top? Outboxing Crawford? That ship has already sailed. Famous trainer Robert Garcia shared a bold opinion. Garcia thinks Canelo has a chance, but only if he abandons the idea of boxing altogether.
To make a change, I think I would love to see the rematch. I think in the rematch, if he comes back with the hunger that he needs, he could beat Crawford. Because Crawford, you know, is very talented, but I think Canelo could beat him. Canelo's strong, man. Canelo's strong. Canelo could take a good punch. So I think he could just go and don't respect his punch and throw punches even though you're gonna get hit. But don't give up. Keep going until you hit him.
Garcia's breakdown is merciless. He claims Canelo showed too much respect for Crawford's skill in their first encounter. To win the rematch, Canelo must stop fearing the punches. He has to turn it into a street brawl, leaning on his legendary chin to endure Crawford's assault, just to land one decisive blow. Garcia urges Canelo to be reckless, to drop his guard, and use his body weight to dominate Crawford. It's a gamble, either a knockout triumph or a brutal beating. The boxing community is torn. A glance at Reddit threads and X timeline exposes the divide. Half the fans admire the warrior spirit, thrilled that Canelo refuses to flee, intent on avenging his loss like the legends of old. They see it as the purest courage. The other half calls it delusion, convinced Crawford has Canelo figured out, and that a rematch could only make him look worse.
Mexican supporters, they love boxing. I got a lot of people that I grew up with as, Latino, so, this is for the whole Mexican people that love me and support me.
There's also a more skeptical view circulating, that this is purely a money move. Some think Canelo realizes his clock is ticking, and he's chasing one last huge payday, likely topping $50 million, before finally retiring for good.
Canelo Alvarez is not going to move up to fight David Benavidez now at 175. There's nowhere to go. Like, Crawford could still try to conquer 160, but who is putting up real money for that? Canelo has already cleaned out the 168-pound division. Besides Terence Crawford, where else is he going to go? I just think the more time passes, the more we get away from the outcome of this fight, that's when people are going to start to realize that doing it one more time is in the best interest of both these guys. And for boxing, by the way, because that's another big event that you could put on the calendar.
You're pretty stupid for a smart guy, especially when it comes to match.
Whether it's courage, obsession, or pure greed, the world won't look away. May 2026 is shaping up to be the most pivotal month in modern boxing history. Canelo Alvarez is wagering his entire legacy on a single night. If he triumphs, it becomes the greatest comeback ever. If he falls again, especially in the crushing way he did the first time, his aura of invincibility vanishes forever. What's your take? Is Canelo letting his ego cash a check his body can't cover? Or will the king reclaim his throne? That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, hit like, subscribe, and tap the bell so you never miss our next breakdowns. And drop your thoughts in the comments. We'll see you in the next video.